Hey everyone, and welcome to another installment of Ticket Stubs and Popcorn. I am Frank.
And I'm Peter, and I
Peter.
have a question for you.
Question?
Frank.
Can I just tell them who we're going to talk about first?
Well, okay, go ahead.
All right. We're going to talk about Morgan Freeman today.
Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman, yes. Not Morgan Friedman, who's my accountant, but Morgan Freeman, the actor.
Very good.
All right, because when I went looking for movies with Morgan Freeman,
There weren't too many of them.
the ones that were there were very, very disturbing. It was the worst 45 minutes of my life. So,
Just down the rabbit hole.
that was one of
Was
the,
it that
that
was
was one
one
of the
of the
titles.
movies, yeah.
That was Down the Rabbit Hole,
With
which is a lot
Morgan Freeman.
with
yeah.
Morgan Freeman, which is a lot different than you'd think because I never thought he was that limber. But anyway, you had a question for me.
I did.
And now they have a lot of questions for me.
Yes.
Anyway, so
All right.
go ahead.
Yeah, I had a question. We've
Yeah.
done some variations on this with our questions. Have you seen a movie that you'd like to have animated? Have you seen an animated movie that you'd like to have? And so there's different variations of what format things take.
Mhm.
Have you seen a movie
Yes.
that you would like to see staged as a play, maybe?
Okay,
A play
that's something that was
on
not
stage.
originally a play.
Not original,
Oh,
right?
okay.
On stage, and it's gone one way.
Okay,
Now
cool.
does it go back?
Okay.
We've seen musicals and
Yeah,
gone
all right,
the
cool.
other way.
But
I'm just talking about you
straight
watch
up
the movie
movie
and
that
you go,
I
oh,
would like to see.
I wouldn't mind seeing that.
All
as
right,
a
cool.
play.
All right, that's a good one. All right,
Yeah.
that's not that cool. All right, Morgan Freeman.
Hang on, before we do that one, we should probably remind people out
Oh
there to
yeah,
like
and subscribe and all that.
Yeah,
lovely
share.
stuff.
Check us out
Yeah.
on Instagram and Facebook.
Oh yeah, you got the shirt that going on. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
That's
you like that
nice.
one?
Yeah.
I have no idea where I got it, though.
Oh well, these things happen.
Yeah.
So you found the shirt. This is one of those rare instances where Peter found the shirt, and then we decided to build an
Just
entire
make it,
show.
We saw
around it.
this one
So-
and we said we like this logo. Let's
Yeah.
use it for
So
ours.
the amount of time
Yeah.
that you've spent watching this show was started because he was dumpster diving.
Yep.
So anyway, it's also where we found Corky. Yeah, he cleaned up nice though. Good job, Cook. Just stop eating the
For God's sakes.
damn kid. Anyway, Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman. You want me to start?
Yes.
Okay. Morgan Freeman. What can you say about Morgan Freeman?
Well, let's find out.
He's got some not just great acting chops on him. He's got that wonderful voice that you automatically trust.
Yeah.
And so because of that one, he's had, I'm not going to say a second career because it's really not. He's just had this wonderful other variation of acting,
Yes.
and that's this narration.
We all want him to
Narration.
narrate
Oh.
our lives.
Wonderful, yeah. So he has that wonderful voice. You sounds trusting. He's authoritative.
Yeah.
You just want him to narrate anything.
Everything,
Anything you got. Well, let's just put Morgan Freeman and narrate. So I'm not positive. I think this might be the first good use of that voice for narrating and the narration skills. And I think it's first seen in Shawshank Redemption.
Okay.
So that's definitely one of my picks. And he plays the part of Red. He's a prisoner. He's a lifer, pretty much. He's in there for murder. A nice man who just happened to do one bad deed in his life.
Dumb
and
thing when he
that's
was
what
a
it's-
kid. Yeah. We've all
It's,
done that.
So his was unfortunately the worst thing you could do, murder, and that's what he's in there for. So he's
The worst thing you can do?
well, I don't know.
White pants after Labor Day?
I stand corrected.
That's still a jailable offense.
It is, especially up in Maine.
As
where
it
the prisoners
should
buy-
be.
So we have him play the part of Red in Shawshank Redemption, and he's wonderful.
Also, no, you know what's worse than the white pants thing? I'm sorry to interrupt. All right?
Sorry, Morgan.
It's it's those sons of bitches who just do not return their cart to the little parking lot thing, like their
Oh,
shopping
boy.
cart to the. Just put it back. Just what does it take?
He's
sorry.
he's off on a rant
just-
today. White pants
Just
after Labor
Oh my
Day.
God.
The cart not in its right
so you
place.
can imagine my level of I've had it with humanity when I see some white pants, white shoes,
Not
wearing
returning the car to the
bastard
proper
in the
location.
super, just not putting that thing back.
You know,
That right there, justifiable homicide.
it doesn't surprise me that you're so short-tempered with poor Corky, our intern there. That guy
I'm gonna put him in a shopping cart
in white pants
in
after
white
Labor
pants
Day.
after Labor Day.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I have no idea now. Who
Morgan
we're talking about? Morgan
Morgan
Freeman. How can you
Freeman,
forget this
Shawshank
man?
Redemption.
Shawshank Redemption. He plays the part of Red, and he's a little because he's a lifer pretty much.
Interrupting someone too was also pretty.
No, I have no trouble with that at all. Apparently.
I just full of beans today. Full of beans. Silly beans.
I'm Peter. He's Frank. Bye bye. So he's in the prison system, and he's what do you want to say? He's a little cynical because of that, but he's also very trusting. He's in the his character in the movie, and Red is trying to remember how he describes himself in the movie. I am the Sears and Roebuck of the prison, so
Yeah, he's an
he
important-
can get stuff.
Yeah.
And it's told from his point of view. He's the narrator in this movie as well as a main character, or at least the supporting character. And that's important in this movie because the Tim Robbins character, Andy keeps a lot of stuff inside. He plays it very close to the
Yeah.
vest.
Yeah.
So we have to have Red narrate just to tell us about changes because Andy's not going to come out and spill his plans and tell what
No.
he's thinking and doing. So he plays a very important character. And of course he does it so well. And it's just a great movie anyway.
Oh yeah.
But I love, obviously, Andy is the main character, the Tim Robbins character. But his character as Red is great, and you can see as he gets older. There's a little bit of worry because he knows what has happened to an earlier friend, fellow
Oh yeah, the little bird guy.
convict. Yeah, James Whitmore. He gets out. He gets paroled. It's toward the end of his life,
Yeah,
and he can't handle life outside.
Outside life just doesn't.
And
help.
so
doesn't work for
It
him.
almost looks because at the very end or toward the end, he does finally get released after many times going before the parole board and getting no.
Yeah.
And then he goes in and he just realizes they're going to say no, so I'm just going to tell them what I feel, and he just doesn't really try to come up with excuses. And then they go, okay, granted.
See ya.
What?
It's kind of the lesson we all learned from Office Space. Just you know what, the unadulterated truth is just believe it or not, best way to go. Look, this is just who I am.
This is how
This
my
is what's
normal day
happening.
goes.
This
when
is
I
it.
get here, this is what I do.
So he just goes that route.
So it's a great performance.
Yeah.
And I just love it. And he's it's a wonderful movie. I know we referenced it at some point.
Oh yeah.
But it's on Andy's side and on Red's side. It's not survival in the sense of like brute force. It's the opposite. It's like there's hope through nonviolence, and it's very interesting that there's a prison movie, and we're not talking constantly about breaking out. We're not talking about big fights. We're not talking about getting back this way, doing this. It's this hope in faith and warmth. It's really it's very interesting. It's perfectly
Yeah.
done by both Tim Robbins and today's featured performer, Morgan Freeman. Not Morgan Friedman.
No,
Who is doing our taxes
Whose work?
this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
His work and film will not be reviewed here. We ain't that kind of show yet. Go ahead. Sorry. That's another meeting.
Okay.
Who else? What's
number
next?
2, I'm gonna go with Morgan Freeman's performance in Glory, which is he's Sergeant John Rollins, and it's the story. I know we've talked about this one, I think, in our Denzel Washington episode. They're in the same regiment. It's an all-black regiment, and it's the first one historically in the United States, anyway. And they're the Massachusetts 54th Infantry, and he's, as in many of his roles, Morgan Freeman is the wiser, calmer voice of reason, and in a lot of ways, the men, the privates, the young, like these grunts who are just getting in there they could be ex-slaves, they could be runaways, they could be, freeborn men. It doesn't matter. But if they're African American and they want to serve, this is one of the very few units that there is. So different slices of life and different attitudes and backgrounds are coming in, and Morgan Freeman's kind of like the touchstone for every. They kind of, they're able to, even the Denzel Washington character is able to deal with Morgan Freeman because he is how he is, and because of that, he gets promoted to sergeant, which is as high at the time. That's the highest position any black man can get to. Would have been a sergeant major, and that's what he was. And so he has a little more authority now. He's gained the trust. So the commanding officers, the white commanding officers, he's like the conduit. So they can talk to him. They know that that he's dependable. He's trustworthy. Well, they all know that they're all trustworthy. But what I mean is, at the beginning, he's the one that they go to, and it's just wonderful. It's a great performance. It's a great movie. Obviously, the Denzel Washington character gets a lot more attention and more accolades. Denzel won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for that role. But it takes sometimes another character like Morgan Freeman to make you, realize the differences, and I think, performance like that, well, it does. It gets overshadowed by a louder, brasher, So I enjoy that performance.
Awesome.
And and let me just say, this is a difficult actor to pick 3 films, because as he's been around, he's gotten some wonderful friendships in Hollywood, connections by his age, but his skill in this experience. So he's gotten to be friendly with directors like Clint Eastwood. So he's in a handful of Clint Eastwood movies, and he's wonderful in those. He's gotten into the Batman series. So we see him in a lot of these type of movies. But earlier in his career, he did a role that is probably my favorite Morgan Freeman role, and it is not what we would expect Morgan Freeman to be in, and that's Street Smart, where he plays a pimp. I'm not making it up. don't shoot the messenger, but
You
his
gotta say
name,
that.
his street name is Fast Black.
You know what though? I mean, if you're a hooker, can you imagine a more comforting pimp to have than like Morgan Freeman?
Oh no, not in this movie.
When you're like holding out on him,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh no.
and he's like, like sort of working out his pimp hand, you almost feel like it's a warm blanket.
No,
It's just,
sure.
yeah,
He's comfy,
it's just
cozy.
like,
No.
you're holding out on me.
This
I
is
can't
my-
even do
no.
it. It would be such
Yeah.
a warm.
He's cuddly. He's
Yeah.
avuncular. He's gonna
just
take
like-
me out for a
I
soda.
mean,
This is
if I'm
be
gonna
great.
have a
No.
hard hitting, pipe carrying pimp,
know.
I want it to be Morgan Freeman.
I know on paper that's what it sounds like, but not in this movie. His character, Fast Black, he's pretty ruthless in this one.
Really?
Yes. He's
Street Smart is the
foul-mouthed.
movie. I don't know.
Street
this
Smart,
movie.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Street Smart came out, I want to say, 87.
I was
It's
busy.
Christopher
87.
Reeve is the other side of it. And there's actually some smaller roles that are good in this one. Kathy Baker, I want to say, is her name. She's one of the prostitutes. But anyway, so Morgan Freeman in this one, he's pretty tough.
Really?
He's a smart, very cagey. So he can be very charming at the right times and the right moments. He's pretty ruthless.
Well, he's got that
There's a few
voice.
there's
Of course
a
he can
few
be
times
charming.
where he's always drinking a glass bottle of Yoo-Hoo, the chocolate drink. That's what he likes. So because it's a glass bottle, there's a few times he'll just smash it and just hold it up against somebody's face.
Hey,
He's,
sometimes
You
gotta
have
keep
to have that strong pimp
you
hand.
gotta
You got
have
to.
that. You gotta keep that pimp bottle of Yoo-Hoo strong.
Got it. When you see this movie though, and I'll be honest, the movie is a little cliched. It's okay. It's a good movie, but that's about it. But you got to see it just for his performance.
All right.
And it is not. If you said who would play this role at that time, you'd go, well, maybe if it were like 2 years later, you'd go Denzel would have played it. But it's just at that time, Morgan hadn't been in he had been in stuff, but not a real face, a name like you notice him. And Denzel really it was like doing a little bit of St. Elsewhere, maybe on TV. So he wasn't there yet either.
Was Morgan Freeman narrating?
Yeah. Yeah. And then I broke the bottle and
Trixie
held it
didn't-
against her face.
Trixie didn't know what she was getting into that day.
Oh my goodness. So
Lost
anyway,
3 bottles of Yoo-Hoo that week.
So Street Smart with Morgan Freeman. It is my favorite Morgan Freeman performance, to be honest. It is.
All right.
And at that time, you said, okay, he's playing this role. But as we've gotten to know him later, since then, like you go, I can't believe he's playing this role.
Yeah,
but it's definitely him.
That is.
And it's wonderful. Like I
really
said,
very
he's
funny.
charming,
Well, yeah.
but he is ruthless.
You gotta spend that time at the bus station with the youngins coming in. It's just like, I'll buy you some clothes. Isn't that how it worked? That's how it worked with me.
That's
Anyway,
look at the heels on those shoes. Sign me up, says
that's
Frank.
how we got Corky. And I gotta tell you,
Is that a fish swimming around in the heel of
that
your shoe?
is how Corky. Yeah, it's amazing that Corky is so good in the heels. He's wonderful. Absolutely no need for him to even wear shoes, but he does. Anywho, hey everybody, like and subscribe if you would please. Find us on Instagram and Facebook and all that. So those are your 3.
Check out the shirts.
All right, cool. Yeah. Let's see. I'm going to start with Wanted. Hence the shirt. So
I'm just going to keep interrupting now.
no,
because
go
I
ahead.
figured-
Do
no,
it,
no,
man.
no. I just
keep the flow going. So Wanted is really is fun because kind of like what you're saying about Street Smart, where you look at him and go, "Whoa, that is really against type." Don't see that at all. Similar in Wanted, lots of great people for one thing in this movie. You've got Chris Pratt is in this movie, and Professor X is in this movie. Angelina Jolie is in this movie. It's a great little movie, and to find out, spoiler, the movie's like almost 15 years old, so that he's the bad guy.
What?
Right? That he's the bad guy at the end. It's just like, oh no! Morgan Freeman's the bad guy.
My dad did something wrong.
Exactly.
He's infallible.
And but it's just it's really kind of fun because it's such a change, and to see him be a bad guy is really kind of fun and interesting. But it does break away from like the types of roles that are notable for Morgan Freeman. And my next one is going to be Unforgiven.
Oh, yes.
Okay? And it's sort of, that's one of those, some other show that we've recorded, I'm not sure if we even released it yet, but we talk about like the best friend role kind of thing.
Yes.
I think the question had something to do with like, but not, who's the best friend,
right, but
not integral to the plot.
Right.
But he always plays like a wise friend. He's always kind of, I don't want to say second banana, but he's always like the main character's kind of like, I don't want to say side, but let's just say like good friend, almost mentor. And he's like that.
An occasional partner.
Yeah.
That's an
and he's like that in a lot of movies. He's that voice of reason. He's that wisdom. I mean, and he's like that in Shawshank. Even though he's the narrator, and he's like that in Unforgiven. He's like that in the Batman series. He's like that in Robin Hood.
Yeah,
he's
like
just
Glory,
always in Glory.
That's
he's
what he is.
Always that voice, if I might, of reason.
Right.
And
he's our conscience.
Yeah, exactly.
Conscience. Yeah.
And a comforting presence in a thing, and it's great, and you feel kind of like, okay, this main character is likely going to do something stupid, is at least going to get some good advice.
That's right, exactly.
Along the way.
Hopefully he will learn from this.
Exactly. And I think Andy Dufresne in Shawshank's on my list as well. Okay. So Shawshank and Unforgiven, I kind of have this blanket thing, again, about him being that sort of mentor type. It's the same way in Seven, right? He's like that in all of these movies. And as I was prepping for this, that sort of line through his career just sort of popped out. I mean, I can't think of a movie where he's not that guy. All right, maybe in Street Smart.
Street Smart, he's not.
Street Smart,
but
he's not. In Wanted, he's not. He kind of is. I mean, because he's portraying that, like that mentory type, and then you find out he's the bad guy, he's manipulative as hell. But he's he brings that, and it is totally his voice, but it's also like his physical demeanor as well. He literally has played God.
No, exactly.
And you're just like,
I was about to say, he's played God.
And you just what he brings to the table, I think, is that feeling of safety and comfort, and he does it with his voice and with the physical presence. And sometimes he'll even give that look that, it's sort of like that guidance counselor look of, the right thing to do. You may not do it, but and I know,
like
and
cool
that I know.
That or your friend's cool uncle, somebody who you said, boy, I wish I had a cool uncle like that.
Yeah.
Probably isn't going to happen, but...
He's sort of like, if he was in like the Marvel Universe, he'd be a softer, gentler Nick Fury.
Oh, yeah.
He'd be like Nick Mello.
Yeah, you know the other thing, too, about Morgan Freeman, he never... There are some movies that he's in where he's, has a smaller role, but he never has like an insignificant role even as like a supporting character, he always he just always has this presence.
Yeah.
It just always makes you like you like never forget that he's in a scene.
And in Shawshank, what's really interesting, and you don't see this too much, when Red gets paroled
Yeah.
and you see him, you know, bagging groceries and stuff like that, he looks vulnerable. And there's
Well, it is scary. He's
yeah.
out-
Oh yeah.
he's
It's
outside
totally. But that's not. You don't see a Morgan
Yeah.
Freeman character
Yeah.
like that
Right.
a lot.
Yeah.
He's usually the kind of knowing.
Oh yeah,
And
his feet are firmly planted
yeah,
on the ground,
most definitely.
and he's been
In
there before, so
Red-
he can tell you.
In Red, he's like that. Like again, he's like this. He's like this great sort of partner.
Yeah.
And he's fantastic.
I
That's
like to when you see him in that movie, you like really see. Well, first of all, he is telling us, but there are times when it's in his face too. Like he's like, as the movie progresses, he's like more and more impressed with Andy. Like
yeah.
like you know, you know, he'll just look at him, and you can see it like. Or as they're drinking the beer on the top of the roof or whatever, and he's just like, you know.
I think he catches on to the change in Andy, because once Andy, you watch that movie enough, and it is in my top 3 all-time favorite movies. You watch that movie enough, you can almost see when Andy decides to get busy living. You know, when he decides that, okay, this is going to be. I'm going to start doing this. And that's when he it appears as though he's just sort of resigned to his fate there at the prison. He's going to make the best of it. And then you know that everything he's doing is all part of this beautifully intricate plan to get out. And he's just, you know, being patient, and he's going to take however long it takes, but he's got a plan. And it's just, it's beautiful. And I think that's when Red starts to see Andy with a little bit more respect instead of pity.
Yeah.
So, and you can hear that in the way that he's narrating his, you know.
Yeah, because when he first sees Andy, I think I got this right. When he first sees Andy, everybody's taking bets on who's going to be the first one to cry.
Yeah.
And so Red goes, I got my money on that tall, skinny drink of water over there, something like that. And no, Andy doesn't. Andy isn't that way.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh,
Andy's all just in his head,
yeah,
in his own head, and no, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe. Thanks. Find us on Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff.
Share with your friends.
Your 3 movies as I recap:
Sure.
Street Smart, and Shawshank, and the Shawshank Redemption.
Yes,
the
Shawshank
movie, and Glory.
Yes, and yours were Wanted, and then we overlapped Shawshank Redemption, and you had Unforgiven.
Yeah.
And look, I just want to say this about the Shawshank Redemption. We forget. We don't necessarily, because we enjoy the movie.
The royal we.
Yeah, the royal we. You know, we don't forget, but sometimes I think some people forget that that's a Stephen King story.
Just a short story.
Yeah.
And Frank Darabont just turned it into a beautiful movie.
Oh, incredible.
It really is.
Just what spirit. You know, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
All right. So, there was a question earlier about a movie I'd like to see as a play.
Yes.
Hamlet. No, I'm kidding.
I don't think that would work on play. There's too many scenes. Why would
There's
that
too many
work?
notes.
Come on. Some pouty prince.
All right.
Come on.
So I would, it might have been done already. I'd say Breakfast Club, because it's one spot, set number, just boom. Breakfast Club would be great. But another one that I think, and I thought this the very first time I saw the movie, Phone Booth. Remember that movie?
I don't think I do.
You don't know that movie?
No.
It's with
Which one is
Colin
that?
Farrell And
no, I do know it.
Yeah,
I do know
he's
it.
literally
It's
in a,
no, I do know.
Kiefer Sutherland is
when
this
when
voice. He's a bad. Just to give you a little rundown, in case you don't know this movie,
I have seen
Colin Farrell is this kind of a scumbag guy who there's a dude who he literally just he knows all the bad stuff that he's doing, and he's like cheating on his wife, and he's just all this stuff that he's doing. So this was back in phone booths when there used to be phones in these metal things on the street. You could put in coins with these little round metal pieces of money.
I don't understand. What are you talking about?
I know, right? So
you're speaking a foreign language now?
I don't know.
You're making this up.
I know. So it's a very old concept. So he kind of traps him in this phone booth, and he calls him, and Colin Farrell answers the phone, and there's a voice on the phone, creepy Kiefer Sutherland, and he says, "Look, there's a gun on you," blah 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 blah, and he basically just tortures this guy and mind screws with him. And it's great because, and I think it would be a great play.
It's almost like Speed, but in a phone booth.
Yeah, it's Speed in a phone booth.
You're trapped at the phone.
And but it's one compact little thing. You've got a little stuff going on with police externally. Forrest Whitaker makes his way in there, and I believe that Katie
which would be really tight inside that phone booth. Because if you're already stuck in the phone booth, you don't want Forrest Whitaker to just
a big guy.
kind of wedge his way in. You want a little more elbow room.
So I think that would be a great movie as a
that could work. So, I completely forgot, but as soon as you said Colin Farrell, I know the movie now. Yeah. Well, it was funny because the movie that I'm thinking of, although I do have a second one in mind, the movie I was thinking of, you actually mentioned it once in this episode, and I was like, how the heck did he just come up with that one? I was thinking Office Space could work on stage because if you just do the office scenes and then there's apartment scenes, and that's pretty much there are some other scenes.
Yeah, but those
you can easily work around. You could work around when they go to a party. You could work around.
Yeah, you could play with
but I thought Office Space would be good because almost for the same weird reason with Phone Booth, you got so everybody's in a cubicle. It's Speed in an office with the stapler gone crazy. If this stapler goes over 50 miles an hour or under, you're in trouble. Yeah. Right. And because of the cubicle situation, or because of his apartment, which isn't that big, you could see how that could be done.
See that,
Oh, the other one I did think of, it could work, but it wouldn't be the same. But is Christmas Story. That one I think could work as a play.
I think they did it as a
play. Did they do it as a play? Oh, maybe they have. It's probably a musical on Broadway, and I have no idea. Are you serious?
I think so. I'm like
I won royalties on this one.
92.5% certain.
99 and 44 1/100% pure.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I didn't know that. I do want royalties from that one then, because that was my idea. That's gonna happen. Yeah, probably isn't gonna happen.
No. Yeah, those are those would be good on stage. Yeah, all right.
I think they could definitely work.
Yeah. All right. Let's do the bucket.
Yes, sir. So, ticket stubs and popcorn.
One of these days I'm going to eat popcorn during the show.
There's nothing to keep you.
There really isn't.
Unless Corky doesn't prepare the popcorn for us. Let's take a look at this. Oh, God, here. All righty.
That's not bad. That'll be fun.
Nope.
Cool.
Definitely.
All right.
Yes.
So, thanks for watching, folks. Remember to like and subscribe.
Please
throw
do.
some stuff in the comments there. We've been
shirts.
getting a nice little bit of some back and forth in the comments, so that's really fun. We try to respond to the comments as they come in, or find us on Facebook and Instagram. And so thanks for watching. Bye bye.